Well, hello there, folks. I do hope you're all well, one and all. This is episode 6 in the Who Do I Watch on YouTube series. We've got, I think, 11 in all. 2 a day are coming out. There was one today that came out at 8 o'clock. This is the 8:31. It's Sunday. Is it the 31st? It is the 31st. It's New Year's Eve. There'll hopefully be a couple out tomorrow, New Year's Day, a couple out the day after, and that'll virtually finish it. It's really weird, this one. If you've seen the thumbnail, you'll know who it's about. And of all the people I watch on YouTube, he's got the second biggest following. But he's really been in the news this last couple of days, with many within YouTube in the environment that he frequents. The main environment that he frequents, I would say, or it has been thus far, although it looks like things are going to change. It's really weird, this. I started this series, I recorded some on Thursday of last week, which would be about the 28th, let's say. The first 2 went out on Friday night, one at 8, one at 8:30. The second 2 went out last night, one at 8, one at 8:30. There's one going out tonight, as I've said, that I recorded, I think, on Friday. And this one I'm only recording today, because I didn't have the chance to do it Friday or Saturday, and it's really, really weird, because a lot has happened in this person's life since Friday. And I had to record it on Friday. The sentiment would be very much the same, but there's going to be a few bits added that weren't going to be on there. Right, before we go any further, my name's Dave. I'm a early 60s fellow in that there Warrington in the northwest of England. I go under the title of Britain's grumpiest old git, and I am! Don't worry about that, I am. You don't see it all the time, but I am. I moan about most everything. This is a channel unlike anything you've ever seen before. It's just done from my bedroom studio. Someone said bedroom then. It's a studio. But it's nothing fancy. No graphics, no music, no editing, nothing. It's just me talking to you, talking to that there screen on that laptop. That's it. No money spent whatsoever. Okay, as amateur as they come. Right, that said, I started watching YouTube about 22 months ago now. I'm looking for something for an extra income that hopefully one day will be my full income. I've done alright. It's a very, very new channel. It only started about 8 months ago, end of March, early April of this year. I think as of yesterday we had about 1,270 subscribers, which isn't a lot, but it's just word of mouth. It's people seeing me on here and it's word of mouth. Nobody, family members, relations of any kind, friends, has passed my name on to anybody else. People have seen it and subscribed or not. Many have not, obviously, and some have probably passed it on to their friends. I don't bang on about subscriptions like everybody else does, because it does me nutting. I do about 4, 5, 6 videos per day. Most days. On a very productive day it can be 10, 12 or even 14. I work full time as well. I do a lot of time with research, and I do loads and loads and loads of different subjects. I've probably got more output than anybody else on YouTube. I've probably done more videos than anybody else on YouTube. And one of those reasons is the fact that there's no production at all. As I say, music, editing, graphics, there's nothing there. Partly because I can't do it though. I mean, I'm lazy as it is, but partly because I can't do it. I'm the world's biggest technophobe. We're going to cover a subject now, part 6. You'll know what it is. You'll have seen on the thumbnail. It's a chap called the Mac Master. He was going to be number 6 anyway, and I'm going to tell you about him. I'm going to critique him and his channel. When I say critique, it might be all positive, might be no positive, might be a bit of both. But as I've said in the past, I do this to everyone. Why I do this, I don't know, because I'm going to read it to you in a minute. I'm going to put the bins on and read it, because I'm blind as a bat, by the way. You can just put it on hold and see that for yourselves. There it is to see. But I'm going to read it, so why I hold it up is beyond me, even though I do it every single time. It says, if you've just watched my review on a channel that you follow, presented by a presenter that you no doubt love, that's not me, the presenter on your channel that I'm now reviewing, please, that's me begging you, this is me this time, this is me, please, I'm saying to you, please, before having a go at me, because I know there'll be them keyboard warriors that'll be wanting to have a go at me, because that's what you all do, watch my video that I put out on Thursday night at about 8:30, entitled, Why Did I Start a YouTube Channel? It tells you a bit more about me and the reasons behind starting the channel, and the pluses and minuses that I got from many channels, this one included, the Mac Master included. I'm going to tell you what I think of Lee, I think it is, and his channel. It means nothing to anybody. I'm not as successful as Lee, mind you, I've only been doing it 2 minutes, relatively speaking. I'll give you the numbers that Lee has and how long he's been doing it for in a minute, because I do that about everybody. I come from a place of just telling the truth, or the truth as I see it. Whether you believe me or not doesn't matter to me. Well, it does matter, but I'm telling the truth. I don't lie. I just don't do it. I take all the criticism in the world. I criticise myself. So if I'm saying anything about Lee that you don't like in his channel, please just bear with me when I say I knock myself more than anybody else. And I know I'm not the youngest looking guy in the world. I'm not the best looking guy in the world. I've got bags and grey circles under my eyes and all these things. I know I'm not as clever as Lee because I can't edit anything. I can't put music to anything. I can't shoot as he does. Not as professional as Lee. I know that. Us Brits are weird people, as I've said on the past videos. If I have 10 points about Lee and 2 are negative and 8 are positive, all that you'll do, the followers of Lee, is focus on the 2 negative. You won't think, oh, Grumpy there said 8 great things about our Lee and he likes him. He said them 2 things, we're not having that, because that's the way it gets. I've noticed when people follow YouTube channels, they're always in the court of that person that they like and they can't have anything said about him or her. And I don't get that. There's always good and bad in most everybody. Now, a few of the channels I've done, I've knocked a couple of people within them. But a couple of channels I've done, I've said nothing but positive things. So people couldn't come back at me anyway. But I say it from a point of honesty. I've got no envy, no jealousy or anything like that. I'm happy that they're earning what they're earning and doing as well as they are. Anyway, to that end, let's go on about Lee. Now, all the things I'm going to say about Lee, I was going to say anyway. Now, as it turns out, for those that don't know, it's weird, this Tenerife, I started doing looking at these YouTube channels about 18, 20, 22 months ago. The first one I seen was, I think, a man and wife based in Tenerife. And I only started to see their channel because I noticed that the wife sings. I liked her, thought she had a great voice. Started looking at the channel, thought, when I go over there next, I've got to watch them. And I did. I went into overkill, to be honest with you. I watched too many times. I think they were getting afraid of me. I'm joking, I mean that in a nice way. I tend to watch the channel. From that, I picked up others in and around Tenerife. I like Tenerife myself. I go pretty regularly. It's not the only place I go, but I go pretty regularly. I like other places too. And in a weird way, of these 11 people I'm going to look at channel-wise, most of them are based in Tenerife, but that's only because I go there pretty regularly. And over the last 4 or 5 years, I've been there most every year. But I do like the subterfuge behind them all, the way that they all call one another. They all fall out with one another. And to that end, it's absolutely blown up this weekend into something else only over the last 24 hours, which is weird that I'm doing this today, but it was going to be the one I was going to be doing today. So I'll quickly mention that. I'll give a slight take on that, but only a slight take, because I'm going to do something at the end of all these 11 videos, like a wrap up, and bring it all together. But this is only my views. Many won't agree with them. The person that was having a go at the McMaster the other day, a couple have been to his site and had a pop at him, but many more are praising him for the things he said, because his site, there is people. And I would imagine there'll be a couple of his people go into the McMaster site and have a look at the McMaster, because I've seen the McMaster did a message last night. I thought both were brilliant in different ways. More about that in a moment, but more about that later this week when I've done these 11 videos. But what do I think of the McMaster? Well, I started, as I say, watching these videos from this man and wife. And then I started watching the other odd Tenerife vlogger. I watched somebody that does things on food, because I like food. Unfortunately, I like it too much. I'm carrying too much weight, but it's because I like food and all the wrong foods. I also started watching videos of a person from another resort that wasn't Tenerife, that I also like to go from time to time. And there's many sporting things that I watch on YouTube, but I could do something about them in a collective later this week, early next week. They're not part of the 11. And as I say, I'm going on about different people. The McMaster, tell you, I started watching Lee about, oh God, how long ago now? 18 months ago, maybe more. Knew he was good at what he did. Could see he was a likeable person. I've done something on one of the pals of his called Jeff Carter. And if ever you see that one, viewers, the Jeff Carter, in a way, is the person that got me into YouTube more than anybody else, because I wanted to have a go at it anyway. It's something I thought I could do. I knew I was going to be upset with the way I looked and the way I sounded, because none of us like ourselves. I mean, I'm someone that never looks in the mirror. I'm somebody that never has his photo taken. I just shirk it. I don't like it. The camera's not kind to me, and I feel uncomfortable with the camera. So I knew I wasn't going to like myself, and I didn't. But when I seen Jeff and heard Jeff, I thought there's things about Jeff in the way he looks and the things he says and the things he doesn't say that makes me think I could do that. And I do everything I do without a script. It's all unscripted. I fall flat on my face sometimes, but it's all unscripted. I have the odd thing on here, the odd bullet point, and that's just people's names of the 11 I'm going to do. I'll have the odd bullet point for something to remind me of something, but I just ramble on, and it's what I do. And it works for me. And as I say, it works for some of the people that subscribe. Well, it must work for all of them, or they wouldn't subscribe to me. Good with them figures again. I've been going 8 months, I think April of this year. I'm on about 1270. Lee, for those of my viewers that doesn't know Lee has started out in June of 2008, and he's now on 146,000 subscribers, which is ginormous. It's the second biggest of all the 11 people I'm going to review. I don't look to anyone in America. I don't look to these people with 1 million plus subscribers. I just never have done. I don't watch Lee all the time. I don't get the time to. He puts out too many videos. Not as many as a guy that isn't from England, but that goes to Tenerife regularly. He doesn't put out as many as him, but he puts out nearly as many. And he puts out more than most, and I can't keep up with him. With having a full-time job and doing this, Lee backed me up. You don't have time to watch other people, especially religiously. You just don't. There's just not time for it. And I don't have the time to do it. What we're running a home and a family, there's just not time. But I see a good few of his videos. I've seen a couple recently in Tenerife. The ones that interest me I'll see, but I can't see them all. Anyway, I've followed Lee for a while, and one of the things I liked about him is that he's been to my own town a few times. I live in Warrington. Jeff Carter's another vlogger from Warrington who does Tenerife and lots of other places. He's very, very matey with Jeff Carter, and he's done some with him in Warrington on a couple of occasions. I've seen some from a couple of years ago in Witherspoons in Warrington, a couple of others during lockdown, and I like them. I've seen him in Manchester with Jeff Carter, and I like that. I think Jeff Carter, of all the people that I'm going to review, or the main ones, and I don't mean this in a nasty way, in any way, shape or form. I mean, Jeff has surprised me because he's got more subscribers than I thought. I thought I looked a few months ago and he only had about 10,000. He must have had more because Jeff doesn't do lots and lots of videos and he has big hiatuses. I think one time he said he had problems with his hip or whatever else and was struggling walking. And because a lot of his are live and walking videos, he probably stopped doing them for a while. Plus we've had lockdown and everything else. But I think Jeff's on about 50,000. I thought it was on a lot less. When I first started seeing the Mat Master, I think he was on about 100,000. I think within the last year, he's got one of those ornaments or whatever else from YouTube saying, well done for reaching 100,000. He's got 46 more in no time. More about that in a minute, because I think I know what's behind that, but good luck to him all the same. But I thought Jeff had a lot less than the Mat Master. Now, he does have less, but he's not massively less. And I thought the Mat Master was great, keeping a friendship up with Jeff, because Jeff wasn't out there as much, doing as much. I don't think he's as good as the Mat Master. He's not as professional, and I don't think he's as good to listen to. From my point of view, I prefer the Mat Master as a presenter, but that's just me. Many will prefer Jeff, and it's taste. We all have taste, and that's fine. I think the Mat Master's just that bit more polished. But then again, he's probably been doing it longer and doing more videos, and the more you do, the more polish you get. But I like the fact that he's been mated with Jeff, and he mentions him regularly. He does a lot with him, but he mentions him regularly, and I like that. I like mates that stick together. So I always like that. The Mat Master's videos, I like many of them, thought they were great. He doesn't do what they call the lives like a lot of others do, but it didn't matter to me because I'm just happy with his reviews. I don't watch as many now, as I say, because I don't have the time. But also, what Lee does, he goes a lot of the same places he's been to in the past when he goes to Tenerife or wherever. So because he's been before, I'm not as interested. I'd rather look at places that he's not been before or places I've not been before. When he went to Benidorm again with Jeff a few months ago, I loved it. They had a few days there together, I think he's been since. I loved it because they went to some places I'd not been. Now I tipped the other half off on a couple of them and she's been since and liked them both. So he's giving good info and I like that. And the places I want to go to. And I really liked the reviews he did, especially there was one English place in Benidorm, one Indian and one Chinese. I like all three foods. They were great reviews. I thought I've got to go to all of those. The wife's been to two of them, thought they were greatly. Thank you very much. So, in Benidorm, I think he's happier because it's new to him, it's all new, and he's done, as he said only yesterday, Tenerife to death, and it's not new anymore, he goes to the same places. Let me knock this heater off because I'm warm enough, and you might hear the background sound. Anyway, I like him, I like what he does. He'd been ill a few months ago. Now, I've seen something in this gentleman's comments last night, the gentleman that's had things to say about Lee, the other Tenerife vlogger, and a couple of people that was backing this other person was saying, yeah, and he's supposed to be ill with his heart or with this, it's just all rubbish to get clicks, blah, 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 blah. I don't think Lee would do that. I don't think it was all rubbish. I think he was genuinely concerned about his health. And to that end, so people know that I've got no agenda, no dog in any fight, but I'm genuine, honest and truthful, I put something on my site about 2 or 3 months ago when he was ill to say that I know that he's bad. I've watched a couple of his videos where he's outside the hospital talking, worried in my own way for him because I like him and I like the videos he does, and I do hope he gets better. Because I've had some health problems over the last couple of years. I'm a lot better now. Things are looking a lot better. I don't moan about them. You just get on with it. But I'm looking a lot better. I'm now back to full-time work. But for a while I was concerned. He was too, and I was worried for him. Because he seems a nice fella. And obviously, if he can't get out and about doing what he does, he can't earn. Anyway, it looks like his health has took a turn for the better and things have got easier. I was actually going to say in this video, and I'm still going to say it, he said because of the worries he's had and the things they'd said to him initially, and because it shook him up, he was going to come off the ale and thought he may never drink again. And he thought he might never drink again, and that was it. And he could cope without it, and for a while he did. I see a few weeks ago that he started having the odd drink again. He'd say, just with the odd drink, I'll have one every now and again, because I like a cold beer, but everything in moderation. I see now, I think he's drinking a little bit more, not necessarily a lot, Lee, and I'm not having a go at you, but whereas with a meal he might have one on the meal and then not have another one for 3 days, I think now on a meal he might have a couple if he meets friends, and if you have been badly, just watch what you do. That's all I'll say, but you're your own boss. And I was genuinely concerned, and I think he'd not been well. Hopefully things are better, and I think they are. I seen a Q&A you did about a week ago in Tenerife. I really like that, Lee. Now the reason I like that is I like getting to know more about the people behind the camera, or in front of the camera for that matter, and I liked it. The questions weren't live, they were read off his phone, but I liked the answers he gave, and I liked it. And he actually said in a couple of years' time, he's looking at really, really winding it down and possibly stopping. I thought to myself, and I might be wrong, I don't think he will. I don't think he can. And the reason I don't think he will is this: well, there's 3 reasons. Firstly, he earns good money, but I know money isn't what it's all about. He must earn good money because of the amount of views he gets, and I'm sure he's earning well. I don't know how well, because even though I'm with YouTube and I'm now finally monetised, I can't work out what you earn and how it works. I've tried to get hold of a couple of people to find out what you need and what you need to get this and to get that, and how many clicks you need in that first hour for him to push it to more, because I just don't know. But unfortunately, I can't get hold of anyone behind one of these YouTube channels. I've tried with a couple in a roundabout way, but I've no success. But that's by the by. Firstly, I think he's earning well. But secondly, I think he's very, very good at it. I think he's very, very good at it. And thirdly, I think he really likes it. I think he likes the job, putting things together, doing the videos, and then editing them and sending them out there. And I think when you're very, very good at something, and more importantly, you like something, if you're very good and you like something and you're getting paid for it, like they say, it's like footballers or pop stars, it's not like working. It's not like you've got a job. Because if you love what you do and you're good at it, and you're getting paid, it's ticking every box. And I think for that reason he can't and he won't stop. He said when he was at hospital he was going to slow it down, and for a few weeks he did. But now he's almost as proficient as ever on there. Is it proficient? That's probably the wrong word. He's knocking them out for fun. So he's getting back to the levels he was before, the amounts he was doing before. I would say if you have been badly, you're still 100%, just slow down, man, take it easy. You'll still have your fan base in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, just take it easy. But that's up to you, of course. I don't want you being ill, even though I don't know you. You seem a nice fella. So anyway, I like the fact that he's very close to Jeff Carter and he looks after him, and he always mentions him. He's very nice and very gracious with the young lady from Benidorm, the Benidorm enthusiast. And he was always friendly with a guy called Darren John. Now that's a weird thing, because over the last sort of few months now, it turns out you don't see them anymore. It turns out there's some issues on that score which no one's mentioning. There's a lot gets swept under the carpet and no one's saying anything about anything. But I've noted over a few months, this Darren John doesn't seem as though he's been over happy with Lee. He's never mentioned his name. People have asked Lee things about somebody else, but Lee doesn't sort of take anything on and just has nothing to do with anything. It's like it didn't happen, which to an extent I agree with and I like. The other fella, Darren John, has mentioned about friends and real friends and this, that and the other. He's insinuated it's another YouTuber, but he won't mention his name. There's somebody yesterday that's put something on there on the internet that is obviously about Lee, the Mat Master, obviously. He's not mentioned his name, but he knows people knows who it is. They always thought it was the McMaster or the Night Strider, but it was obviously the McMaster. I don't dislike this person that's put it on there, by the way, and I don't disagree with everything he said. I agree to an extent with a lot that he said, to an extent. The McMaster has answered it last night. I'm going in circles here, I know I am, saying, down to what's been said over the last few days and various things and whatever else, it's now become like a feeding frenzy in Tenerife. It's been oversubscribed. Every one of the dogs doing it. He's banned back there time and time and time and time again. This is not clickbait, but I will never film in Tenerife ever again. I personally think you're wrong. I think when you put that, you meant it. You really, really meant it, and that's what you want to stick to. But I think you're good at what you do. You probably started doing it before anybody else. There's nobody do it. They do it in different ways, but nobody any better. Maybe someone's good, but nobody better than you. And I don't think because of things that have been said yesterday, you should walk away from it. But that's just my thoughts. I do think when you do somewhere like Benidorm, it's even better because it's fresher to you. You like it more, you've been less places. That does show. But I still think you do well within Tenerife. And I think you should just look for even newer places there. I think you should have a hiatus of a year or two, but then keep doing it. Don't do it because of any pressure. Not that they're pressuring you. Not that you feel you've got to. You just don't want them either, and I get that. But at the end of the day, so you've given a bad review somewhere, I believe. Now, if I've looked at it, I think that I'm going away from the Darren John. I'm going back to him in a moment. But if I've looked at it right, I don't know if it's one you've taken down or if it's the one you did of Harriet's. Because if it's the one you did of Harriet's, I've not been in there before, but I know everybody likes it, everybody raves about it. I think one of you give them a 6 out of 10. One of you give them a 7 out of 10. I think one give you a 9 out of 10. Nothing wrong with 6 out of 10. It's not like 3. I think between yourselves, one of you said the food wasn't. I think you said the food wasn't great. You've had better ploughmans. Someone else said this wasn't great, but that wasn't bad. And I think your mate, the crap master, said, well, it was only a 7 out of 10. But it was a jacket spud and maybe I picked the wrong meal. But all I will say is the Sunday rolls here are fantastic and the breakfasts are brilliant. You said the same about the breakfast. Someone else said something nice about the place. So at the end of the day, you're being even-handed, you're being fair. I've seen 2 other reviews you did when you was in Tenerife. One was opposite the Temple Bar? Is it called the Temple Bar? I think it is. In Costa Rica. You went in there, I think you had stacked burgers and various things. You all raved about it. You all give it 10 out of 10. You're being honest. Now, when Rick in Tenerife mentioned that people shouldn't go in there calling establishments and calling people, if you've gone in there and pulled a video down and you're laughing and joking about them and calling the food really being nasty and giving it 2s and 3s and saying don't eat it, blah, 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 and you're being nasty to the staff, and I've not seen anything, I don't think this is the case, then I think he's right, you shouldn't have done that. But I don't disagree with somebody marking something down or saying something isn't up to scratch if you really believe it. I don't want every vlogger going to do vlogs on food and saying everything's great, everything's brilliant, or well, it's not as good as some other places, but it's not bad. Tell the truth. I like truth. I don't think you do anything wrong there. And if it is about Harriet's, when it probably isn't, but if it is, you all said good things about Harriet's. This isn't great, but normally this is great and that's great. I don't think you've done anything wrong. But I do understand where it's coming from. Places can lose business on the back of a really bad review, especially places that have had good marks before of everybody else on TripAdvisor, but that's up to other people to look at TripAdvisor as well as your review. But if your review was of somewhere and you've knocked it down, then he can go in there or somebody else can, eat a different meal, and if they love it, bum it up and say, we know the McMaster knocked it down and said it was this, this and this, but I've just ate this, you've seen it in front of me, it's fantastic. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. I don't think you've done a lot wrong there, but I understand what Ricky's saying. I get his point, but I get what you were saying about knocking Tenerife on the head because of all the myth. I get that. As I say, I wouldn't if I were you. What things do I not like when Lee does his review? Well, I'll tell you what I don't like. When you cut a chip in half, Lee, and you show the fluffiness of the chip, that doesn't do anything for me because I can't really tell. When you show a piece of chicken succulent, don't do anything for me because I can't really tell. You don't always ask people to mark your food out of 10 like Jeff does, but you do it sometimes. And I say, like I said to Jeff, how on earth can anyone mark anything out of 10 when they've not ate it? I know they can say it looks nice and the price is good, so I'd give it a 7 or 8 for that, but you can't rate food without eating it. You're eating it. You always mark things, it's through your style. I don't mind someone marking food. I think Ricky's saying you shouldn't mark the food. You should say it's lovely, or it's nice, or it's just, I've had better, but it's not too bad. That's his way. You're always marking food. That's no problem. You're being honest. I don't think you're doing it. Yeah, you do a bit of clickbait, a bit of thingy, but I've seen Rick do it on 2 or 3 where there's clickbait on there, and some of the ones where he's done clickbait have had more watches. There's nothing wrong with a bit of clickbait as long as it's meant in the right way. You do the things on the thumbnail with and all that. Does me head in, but I don't mind if that's what you do. That's what you do. What else do? You do things with the guy from Blackpool. I can't remember his name. He's only got 3,000 or 4,000 subscribers, or not many more. But he only has 4,000 or 5,000 watch per video. He's an old fella. He's nothing like yourself, but he seems a nice fella. He knows a lot about Blackpool. He lives there. He's very informative. You do loads with him, and you're really generous to him. You've got 150,000 subscribers. You try to get people to watch Jeff Carter all the time. You try to get people to watch the guy in Blackpool all the time. You mentioned Tim, the guy in Tenerife last night when you did, and you're saying good things about him. He's only got about 7,000 subscribers, I think. You're trying to push people to him. I think that's good of you. You did a food review the other day with that, Tim. I thought it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I think probably Rick should look at that review as much as... And what you did there, you was very generous. He doesn't do food reviews normally. I thought his review was great. I think he should start doing them. He don't have to do as many as everybody else. 1 a month or something he should do. I thought everything he said about the food was absolutely spot on. I really enjoyed it. I don't like them places where you can eat meat. I love meat. I can eat loads of it. They don't normally do chips. That one did. They normally have salad bars. I ate salad. They don't do like your peas, your beans, your gravies, your curry. So I can't just eat meat, and I'm not into foreign sausages, so it'd do my head in. But I thought the review was absolutely fantastic, and he was doing so well with it. You was enjoying the food and letting him do it, and you kept saying, you're doing it too good, why do I need to do it? That was giving him time on your channel. I thought that was great of you. So again, it was great. Back to Dan and John. So Darren John and yourself, they've had some kind of fun, I believe. Darren John said a bit more about 2 or 3 weeks ago on a video, and I don't see everything in Darren John's, but I see bits. And he said, I have had a bit of a falling out with another YouTuber. You've seen about it. I'm not going to mention his name. It's not a falling out as such. He said, but we were friends. I thought we was always friends. We were friends. But his thing is YouTube. YouTube, he tells me, YouTube matters more to him than friendships. Well, I don't know whether he said it something like that. I don't know whether you've actually said that or he's assumed that. Because I know in the past you've stayed with him and done bits in London with him. He may have stayed with you where you live. If he has, I've never seen them because they're older and I don't see older. But you obviously were close. I don't think in your mind you've fallen out with him. I think he might have fallen out with you. I don't think you've fallen out with him. But at the end of the day, he's got a full-time job and YouTube. You've got just YouTube. And funnily enough, it's a channel we're going to do further down the line, so I don't want to say much more about Darren now. I tend to watch you a little bit more over the 18 months than Darren, but recently I've watched more of Darren than you. But it's only because he does a lot less videos, and there's been things on there I've wanted to see. And I say, you do loads of videos, Lee, and I've just not had the time. Time's beating me. But I wouldn't hold it against you that YouTube was that important. It's your living. If it's what you do, it keeps the family in clothing and food, you've got to do it. You know, and you're abroad all the time on planes here, there and everywhere, and he's not. So he's got to come first. So I don't think there's a problem there. But what I do know is, Rick is very close to Darren, they're close to one another, and Rick has definitely batted for him in the past over the last 4, 5 or 6 weeks. Things have been mentioned. Darren's name's been mentioned, your name's not. But they said obviously Darren's, not great with somebody. We're not going to go into who. Rick never wants to mention anybody's names. But he said, but friends are friends and you'll always be there for friends and friends mean a lot, blah, blah. And he's letting people know that he's a proper friend and he's great and he's this, that and the other. And maybe sort of sending his way, you're not that same kind of person. Now he'll disagree with me saying that, but that's how I see it. And with what I've watched and what I've seen, that's how I see it. You were gracious last night to the Night Strider. Many have said you've had falling outs, or not so much falling outs, that he's learnt all he can off you, done what he's done from you, and then forgotten about you. You were gracious last night and you weren't backing that up, but I think them things have probably happened to an extent. And I think he's not been as gracious and as forthcoming as he should be. Because from what I can gather, he wouldn't be where he is today if it wasn't for you helping him tremendously. I know he's done a good job himself, as you said last night, but I think you've been behind it all. But anyway, your channel, I like it. You, I like. Don't know you, but I love how supportive you are of Jeff Carter, the fellow Tim from Tenerife, and you were great with Lucy, and somebody else I can't remember who. And I think you're very magnanimous last night with what you said about the Night Strider. And I'm just surprised that I think what Rick has said, as I say, in many respects, he's got there's something in it there. We don't want to lose business as business struggle because of a bad review. But that said, if things aren't right, As long as you've, I mean, I don't know what the place was, Lee. I'd love to know if it was that Harriet's or not. 'Cause if it was, I watched it last night and I don't see anything wrong there. I really don't. Especially when all three of you are saying, but this meal's normally great and that meal's great. So none of you was knocking the place. If it's of somewhere else it's been taken down, then I've not seen it. I don't know which one it is, but I'd love to see it. Anyway, I've got nothing against your channel and I think it's pretty good and I think you're good at what you do. I think your health's better now. Oh, back to the subscribers. You've gained about 40,000, God knows how long. I think a lot of that's on the back of electric cars, but I could be wrong. I know you was in Benidorm a few months ago, at the time you were speaking to Lucy, and you were saying it's gone mad. The Sun's picked up a story about my electric car, and for the last week or so, they've had a story of mine 5 days out of 7. It's great exposure for me, and I think you're doing more and more with electric cars. That doesn't interest me. I'm not interested in electric cars. I think I watched one video and enjoyed it. I've never watched one since and won't. I've not got an electric car, don't want an electric car, don't know anything about them, don't want to know anything about them. But I think on the back of electric cars, and because you've been in the Sun, I think you've gained a lot of subscribers. Nothing against that. Nothing against you. Keep doing videos. At the end of the day, if it ups your subscription levels, ups your watches and ups your money, what's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that at all. Good luck to you. More power to you, my old son. Anyway, that's mine on the Mapmaster. Out tonight at 8:30, Sunday evening, the 31st. And as I say, there's already 5 more in the series. We've covered 5 people. You'll find them. They're all under the title of Who Do I Watch on YouTube? I think that's what they're called. Anyway, thanks for that one. We'll wrap that one up now. It's been a long one.